Welcome to another episode of Sawdust Nation Podcast, kicking it old school with our host, AJ from Crafted and NJ.
Yo.
Myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking. And let's see, Nap couldn't make it today because he's at a conference being all military-like. So, he'll be joining us next week again. And, let's start this episode off with what's in your shop.
Same old. I got a set of cornhole boards that are being worked on. I got actually quite a few sets of cornhole boards. I'm doing one as a donation to a VA hospital that's local.
That's cool.
A gentleman messaged me and asked how much they were, and he did order one set, and then I gifted another set because he wanted two. So I said, I have no problem doing that. And that's the one that, if you've been following along, that one has the 5 military branches and tattered flag behind it. That thing is being up only because there's so much involved in it. Looking back on it, I should have just done kind of like blacked out, maybe grayed out emblems just to make it a lot easier on myself. But I'm doing full color emblems. So everything's all vinyled and then acrylic paint and gel stain. So it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but I think at the end they'll turn out, fairly nice. I'm hoping so.
So far, it looks like it's doing real, man. It's a lot of work, but half the stuff you do is a lot of work and turns out well. So
it is. It's a lot, but I'm learning a lot because now I know how to use my vinyl cutter a little bit better. I know the layers and like the priority that I have to do all the vinyls in, because when I did the first set, I laid one whole vinyl down and I weeded it on the board. So this was my first time doing vinyl. So I said, screw it. Let me try it this way. And it did not work out because, you got to do a base layer, then you got to do the second layer, then third, fourth, fifth, until you get to the very end. I did it all backwards where I just laid it down and now I'm doing everything all backwards. So
it's almost like it's almost like not even doing the vinyl. You basically painted the thing.
Pretty much. That one, actually, I ripped up a lot of the vinyl because after doing the first one and realizing what I did wrong, I kind of rethought how I needed to do everything. And I went, why am I overthinking this? I make the 3D lasered emblems, and I do it exactly like that. I do a base, a middle, and then the next layer, then the next layer. I'm like, why did I just realize that it's the same exact process?
Because you got into the maker thinking process. Sometimes we overthink things and we go down this rabbit hole and it's like squirrel. And all of a sudden you're trying to finish it up and last minute. And at the end, you're like, man, I've done this 1,000 times. Just like you said.
Man, it's the vinyl cutter that really was like making me think that it's something completely different. In reality, it's the same thing. It's a machine. It's going to plot out, all your vectorized images and whatnot, and it does it the same exact way. The only difference that I found is I love using my laser, and I wish I could cut vinyl on the laser because Lightburn is superior. That is the best program I've ever used. And I actually, with the vinyl cutter, they give you a program called Sign Master Pro or something. And it is very archaic, in my opinion. So I design everything in Lightburn. What happened?
Oh, my laptop almost died. I forgot to plug in the most important thing.
So I actually design everything in Lightburn and then export it as an SVG and then put it into Sign Master. And in Sign Master, it's like you would almost expect like processes to be kind of similar, but they are so archaic. It kind of hurts. So, but yeah, I got a vinyl cutter next to me. I bought a 36-inch vinyl cutter, and I went through a crap ton of Oramask because I would cut something and then it wouldn't be centered, so that it would half cut off of it. So I went through a lot of trial and error. You would almost think I'd use the crappy vinyl that they give you with the vinyl cutter. Mm-hmm. I just said, screw it. I said, let's go just dive into the Oramask and call it a day. So,
Well, you got to dive in sometimes. Sometimes, tiptoeing in, this just doesn't work. I mean, how
oh
much
yeah,
material would you have wasted? I mean, might not have came out great. Then you had to redo a project, and it's not worth it.
it's not. I wasn't going to use the crappy vinyl for anything. I would have just like used it as tests, but like
Ah, okay.
I kind of knew, okay, I got my flag, the flag template down. So let me just cut it. Let me just send it and cut it, and I'll learn from here. Yes, it's a lot of waste. I mean, I threw out probably a good maybe 10, 15 feet of aura mask, and it's a 24-inch wide roll. So I screwed up quite a bit, and I chalked it up as a learning experience. And that's exactly how you're going to do it. You do it the same way with wood. If you screw up something with wood, you go, well, I have to either, try fixing it, or I got to throw it out and try over or try again. So
Well,
it's the same
absolutely.
thing. I mean, we went through this with CNCs, lasers, no matter what tool you
Every
have,
machine. Yep.
no matter if it's a big machine, small machine, whatever, you're still going to be a trial and error.
3D. Do you remember starting off 3D printing? How many
Oh yeah,
spools that we went through just trying to figure it out?
dude, I would go through so much just because it wasn't sticking right. It got knocked off midway, or it would start cupping. I went through a lot of that. Yeah, that's
Oh
very
yeah.
true.
I mean, you said it perfectly, and not to dive back into it, but like anytime you start something, there's going to be failure. Failure are steps to success, right? So like you learn something every time you fail. Sometimes when we are taught something and we don't go through that process, the teachings don't stick because you didn't fail hard. You didn't have that late night trying to fix the mess up, what have you. So yeah, I mean, it sucks. But you know what? Yeah, you went through 15, 20 foot of aura mask, but you won't do that again.
No, and I'm learning little by little. I'm learning on how the vinyl cutter works. Okay, I did notice that after I do one cut, I have to reset the machine and then put my origin in, because if I don't, if I do a cut, it gets done, I cut that piece off. If I hit the origin button and then hit cut, it slides
Yeah.
the whole roll back out. So it almost like it thinks that the piece that just got cut is still, I guess, in part of it. I've actually double cut by accident. I cut once, I hit origin, I do my normal, like reset, and then I go to hit cut, and next thing I know, it's cutting on what I just cut on. So
Oh man.
I have to get into the habit now. I do a cut, it finishes, I slice it off, I hit the reset button, it does its little reset, and then I can cut again. The whole thing is very archaic from the machine to the program, but it works. So, I can't complain on that. Little things here and there I'm noticing, how much downward pressure. I don't know, have you ever used a vinyl cutter? Because you have a Cricut,
No.
right?
Well, I have a Cricut. It's a little different. Um, it's pretty much you put it in the program and it does its thing. There's some knowledge
Mm-hmm.
and stuff behind it, but it's pretty much a point, click, and cut.
Yeah.
So
I never realized on how much actually goes into this little vinyl cutter. I mean, you got to know how much downward pressure you want. You got to set the knife right. And I'm going through trial and error where I'm trying to, like, when I go to weed the vinyls, I'm noticing that it's getting caught. So my downward pressure isn't enough because it's not cutting 100% through. So I got that sweet spot now. So now my weeding really goes a lot faster. And that's what I have set up behind me. That's my weeding table with the transfer paper. So it's I do all my rolling on that table right there. Yeah. You see that big roll? That thing's like 24 inches wide.
it is.
And
It's
it's
really
probably about that
impressive.
big.
It's pretty tight too. It takes
It
time
is.
to get down.
It does. It does. But besides the cornhole boards, I got flags in the works like normal. I got a craft fair coming up. Well, actually, like a maker fair. It's going to be down South Jersey in the Pine Barrens, called Pine Barren Maker Fest, and this will be the second year that they're doing it. And I said, screw it, let me just try it. I'm going to go for one day. I'm only going for Saturday. Yeah, I think it's either Saturday
Did
or
you do
Sunday.
this same one last year for one day?
No, I didn't. I know a gentleman, Danny, over at Upper Room Creations. He did it, and and it looked like a really cool event. Apparently they had, I think, like 10,000 people over the whole weekend. So, I mean,
Oh,
like in and
nice.
out, dude, that's a lot of
Yeah,
people. That's a lot of foot traffic.
that is quite a
So,
few.
crunch time is happening because as I look at the calendar right now, I have a little over a month and like 15 days before I have to be prepared for that. So I have to get flags ready, cornhole boards ready, signs ready, clocks ready, charcuterie boards ready, beer flights, cutting boards. We're going to try doing some ornaments. So I got a boatload of stuff to do.
Tumblers?
I have some from my last craft fair that did not sell, which I was very surprised. I thought it would have at least maybe like one or two would have sold, but I was going to do a couple more of those and then bring the ones that I have and see. Here's the tough part with tumblers. I love doing them because they're quick and easy. The thing is, I want to sell a superior product, so I don't want to get like I don't want to cheap out on the cups, so I sell Yetis. Well, you do a Yeti plus the image, and you're up to like 65. Could be $70. Actually, I lie. I want to say maybe 55 to 60.
55 to 60, that makes sense. I did go to I don't want to say craft show. It was like a small vendor event when I was in Texas. And there were some mugs and stuff there for like $120.
Wow.
Okay, hear me out. Granted, they weren't just engraved, but they were like puttied and like made into some, it was a lot. But even for me being a maker, I was like, ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of time and effort went into it, but for a mug personally, when I go shopping for a mug, it needs to be something I'm going to use. Something like that, it'd be more of on a shelf and never used.
Oh yeah. It's I have Yetis I actually have Yetis with my very first logo on it, the forbidden logo that we can't talk about.
You better burn those.
Yeah, well, now I use them as my test cups. So I still have those, and Yetis that I even had prior to that are still in either little chips of paint here and there, but I mean, I abuse my cups. I mean, I'm on the back of my service truck all day. They're getting thrown around.
Well, yeah.
I mean, my Yetis are holding up 100%. Somebody was generous enough to send me some cheaper brand ones, and they had like these very flimsy tops. They one little hit and the top shattered, and my Yetis, they've fallen off the back of the truck, and
yeah.
I have never had any issues with it. So my thing is, to me, the Yeti's worth it, but is it really worth it to other people? But if you sell something like that junkier one that I got, I never want to get it again because I know it's going to fail on me. If it was a Yeti, then I know, okay, I got some longevity in it and whatnot. But yes, I will be bringing more tumblers and whatnot. I even got some little wine, stemless Yeti wine cups or some crap, whatever they're called. I got those. I did a couple of those coffee mugs, the 20-ounce tumblers. So we'll be bringing a lot. Hopefully I can get it all done because between the 2 cornhole boards that I have to do, or the 2 sets, plus a flag that has to get done, plus a few more flags that have to get done on top of the craft fair, it's a lot. So I'm trying to push as much as I can over the weekends, trying to get as much as I can done. We'll see where we're at. And if I know I told you the other day, but if you can see behind me, this is completely different than wherever I've been before.
I was going to try to get to that. Yeah. You know what? So, it looks nice. You're just missing the Sawdust Nation podcast sign in the back.
Yeah, well, it's kind of been a little whirlwind of a disaster because I kind of moved everything down in one shot, and Kim's like, what are you doing? Okay. I'm like, I want to move my stuff down here because right behind me, right through that door, it goes out into the basement, the CNC and laser room. So if I have to run back in, I mean, my stairs are right there, so it's not like I have to go far. But instead of running up, then down, then up, then down, if I had to print something, I had to get something off this computer. Now it's all in one central location, and I'm down here. I don't mind.
Didn't I suggest that at some point? I believe when I was there, I might have hit.
You might have, but at that time it was like I didn't know what we were going to do with this space down here, so I've literally taken over. I can't see it on my camera, but I know the YouTube live can. There's a table on the side where all the benches
I
are.
see a handle.
That's where I paint everything, and then I have this one right behind me that's mobile. And I just push it back. So that's my packaging and all the vinyl and stuff. So I try keeping that one accessible. And now I have my 3D printer right next to me because I sold my Prusa. I don't know if I told you.
No, I wasn't aware.
I kept the Ender. The Ender's been a goat. I have to say, my Ender 3 blew my Prusa out of the water. I love the Ender 3.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay. No. I hated my Ender 3.
This thing is great. Flawless. Since I literally took it out of the box, assembled it, leveled it, one shot, and it's been perfect.
Maybe I had a lemon. I don't know. I just seemed like I spent more time trying to get that thing level and printing correctly than I did printing anything. And with the Prusa, which I haven't printed with it in months, but I was able, for the most part, to put a file in there and print and go.
Well, one thing that I learned on the Ender was a retraction distance and speed. So when I was doing when I first got the Ender, it was doing a lot of stringy prints and it was blobbing up a lot. Like it was real bad prints. Then I was doing a little research. They give you some test prints to do, like these two little cones. As they print, they go big to like the real skinny tip, and it just keeps going back and forth. So they're trying to see how much stringing you get. Well, the further I dug in, I found a setting called retraction speed and retraction distance, and I found a sweet spot. Well, I noticed on the Prusa, that's kind of like if you don't know where you're looking, you can't find it so much. So that was actually causing a lot of issues on my Prusa. So I changed it to the Ender settings and it was fine. I had no problem with it, but I don't 3D print. That's not my thing. I do it every once in a while when I get a spark, like, oh, I need a remote holder or something, you know.
Victor from One Designs in the chat is calling your bluff. He goes, Prusa beats Ender every day.
I love my Ender. I didn't think $100 printer would print so well. Listen, I am not a 3D printing guru. They could be the crappiest of prints, but to me, they're gold. And
if they're working for you, that's all that matters.
I don't even think I have anything down here, but
probably because you can't print anything. No, honestly, man, I've heard people using Enders for farms. I did not have a good experience with it. And that's one of the reasons I did search out a new or different 3D printer for one of our giveaways. And that seems to be really working out well. Hopefully we'll get a review and some feedback from that and give another one away as some live. Oh, Victor's like, I forget the make on top of my head. But we gave away a 3D printer on one of the lives. So it had all the sensors that a Prusa did. It had, I think, a little bit, maybe the same engraving area. But hopefully it seems to be working out. So
I will say the Prusa had a slightly larger bed size because my buddy has the same. We got the printers at the same exact time, and he was trying to print some of these parts for his airsoft guns, and one piece would not fit, no matter which way he fit it. And I think I did it. Yeah, I did it on the Prusa, and I caddy cornered it, and it fit perfect. So that's the only little thing that we've run into. Now, I don't know how well it's going to come through, but if you could see, there's all layer lines, right? But I don't know if you'll be able to.
It's hard to tell through here.
Yeah, I don't have the greatest of lighting. Anyway, this came off the Prusa, and there are so many layer lines that they actually, it looks like it shifted a little bit. And on top of that, it warped on the bottom. So it sits there and rocks.
Okay.
I've done. I also had to change settings for support brims, but not supports, just brims. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that was a thing too. You know,
absolutely.
and now anything I print on that ender gets a brim that's stuck to this piece that it
Hmm.
helps it. And I haven't had any prints, peel up. I have to say, even with the brim on the Prusa, still had prints peeling up. I mean,
Could have been your plate.
I changed it.
It,
It was brand new
hmm.
because that was my first thing. It had an original plate on it.
Oh, I know exactly what it was. It was a user.
I probably was. Hey, that user got $500 for it. So,
Oh, hey, it's not, you can't go wrong with buying and selling Prusa.
no.
But I mean, like, it's a preference thing. Everyone out there, likes Prusa because it's easy use. I've heard good things about Ender once they're set up and you know how to use them. I don't know. I just had a lot of issues and I wanted something that I can go ahead and print and not worry about. And that's worked out for me. I'm glad that that's working out for you because then maybe you could buy a couple more and start your own farm. Who knows?
Did you have a glass bed? If I remember.
Yes, I did.
Okay. This doesn't. This doesn't have a glass bed. It has a very flexible little sheet. Not because the Prusa is a steel sheet. So this is like just a piece of magnet.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what it comes with. I was having some issues. I was looking for basically anything I could change, and glass was one of the big recommendations to change as a setting to get better quality prints. And I did get some good prints when it did print, but like I went through so much film, I had a different experience, and that's okay. There's people out there that use different brands from all over the place. I know Joey from Joey Steelblade. He uses a different style 3D printer, and so does Matt Wackley from Wacky Woodworks. But everyone uses something different. Prusa is the go-to for a lot of people because it's an easy answer. But if you work with a piece of equipment enough and you master it, you can make anything work.
Oh yeah,
so
big time.
It's that time versus money. Like, is it worth my time to learn this to this point and to produce this product, or buy something that's a little bit more expensive and be able to produce something and get it out the door. But
I can say, and this will be the last thing on the 3D printers, but I can say for $100, because the Micro Center every once in a while runs a sale on the Ender 3.
They do. Yeah.
I wasn't going to get it. And then my buddy got one and he was showing it to me. And I'm like, you know what? For $100, if it doesn't work for me, I'll turn around and try selling it for $100, or I'll just keep it. It is what it is. And so if I ever needed another one, I could go in there and get another $100 one. I'm $200 in, and I have two printers versus a Prusa that I spent $500 on, and I'm doing double the work already. I mean, to me, $100 well spent. I have to say, I'm probably the next one will probably just disintegrate as soon as I turn it on.
Just in flames.
Pretty much.
Platte Valley Woodworks is actually the gentleman that won that printer, and he's in the chat now. And he said G-Tech Miser Pro is the one we gave away.
I'll check that out now.
It has all the sensors that a Prusa does, runout sensor, overheat, all that. I wanted to give away something that had all the same sensors and ease of print. And I've seen some of his prints. It seems to be working out well for him. But
I mean, it looks like a solid printer.
Yeah, I mean, like, it honestly did. I did some research on it. Now, I never have owned one, so I couldn't speak from experience. But knowing enough about 3D printers, I feel like I was able to pick out a decent one for everyone that was there that night.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. It's one of those things. 3D printing is like any hobby or any business. You could dive deep down to every setting there is, change things and manipulate it, or you could stick to the basics. I do want to ask, though, what slicer are you using
for the Ender?
Yeah,
the Creality slicer. Works great.
You can use Prusa slicers too, right?
I don't like Prusa. I don't like the slicer. You know why?
Really?
Because, and I get it. Prusa is tailored to, I think their clientele is more of a higher intermediate to advanced user, I think.
That
Because,
feels like a compliment.
well, I mean, I couldn't find certain settings unless like I changed it to advanced
Hmm.
settings. Like I didn't know certain things. When you go into the Creality, it's all there and very laid
Yeah.
out. It's kind of laid out very easy, very explaining, or they explain it very well. Prusa Slicer is there. I had to dig and dig and dig and do research to try and find those settings that I needed to change. But also Prusa dives in real deep. Like they have all these different settings that you can change, which if they would have, let's say, 50 settings to change, the Creality only has maybe 30. So Prusa will dive in deeper for the more advanced audience. But for me, when I was trying to search for stuff, I couldn't find half the stuff I needed to change. And I didn't even know what to change. When I went into the Creality, it was kind of more user friendly, DIY ish. So,
Yeah.
but that's why I stick with that one.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, like, yeah, if that works, it works, man.
Yeah.
So,
And the Prusa went to a good home. It went to a teacher who was looking to get. He has a mini right now, and he has the kids playing around with that. So he said,
oh, cool.
I forget what grade it was, or it might be like middle school, high school ish. And he was saying that the mini he was using, but he wants to have a larger bed size. So I told him, I still had the upgrade kit to make it into an MK3S Plus, I believe. And
Yeah.
he was excited about it. He goes, "This is going to be perfect for the classroom," and was perfectly fine with the price. So I was happy. I was happy it was going to somebody like that.
Yeah, you can't beat that, especially a classroom setting like that where people can learn.
Mm-hmm. So
Excuse me.
yeah.
But yeah, that's cool, man.
So we'll see. But anyway, I talked enough. I talked for almost a half an hour, so I apologize about that. So I want to ask you, because you're in the new house, I want to ask you, how is your neighbor's electric bill being affected? Or did you
Going
not
up.
plug in?
Going up at the minute.
You just have like a table saw running just for the hell of it.
Yeah, you can't hear it. It's actually through that door. It's actually blocked by some bids that need to go upstairs. But
Okay. Is that
so
the infamous garage door?
it is. It is the
Wow.
garage door. Yep.
Look at that.
So this is probably where the desk and recording studio is going to be kind of placed. So you're going to be able to stare. Might open it once in a while, give you a little peek inside. But
Nice.
a lot going on. So quick turnaround. Came back from Texas. Packed the house. So I came back from Texas. Got back the 21st. Packed the house and left the 31st. Got here the 1st. Got the house the 4th. Got our stuff yesterday.
Okay.
And we're done with the truck today.
Nice.
Everything's in the house. So yeah, been busy. Huge thank you to my family and my dad. He drove down with me, helped empty the truck, kept me sane. The wife were helping with the kids and unpacking. Even the kids, they've been great. Some rough stuff here and there, but everyone, is tired and cranky from like nonstop movement, but it happens. So yeah, thinking this is probably where the recording studio is going to go, my 3D printers and whatnot.
Okay.
Got the living room over to my right. But the shop, that's kind of where everyone wants to hear about. I again, grateful to my father. He helped me get 4 circuits into there so that I can operate pretty much the same way I did in Jersey.
Okay.
Now, I've had to modify some things a little more than I'm used to. So we'll start with that, right? So I've been operating 4 circuits, 2 20 amp circuits, one for the CNC station, one for the laser. And then I was operating 2 15 amp circuits in the old garage.
Okay.
Well, everything is wired 20 amp here,
Oh, wow.
which is great. So there was no issue with that, but there's only one outlet in the garage. there's only one. There's an outlet outside the garage, but it's wired in series with the one in the garage, and
Of
so is the
course.
one in the back. So right away, we had to figure out what we were going to do. So he's had some more electrical work time than I have, and
Okay.
we looked at the light, and we actually took down the light, and we did a replacement of that to include a plug. So
Okay.
now that I have a 20 amp outlet there, replaced the single bulb with one of those LED, like 400 lumens, like
The ones with
pretty
the
much.
flaps on it.
Yeah, I get a sunburn when I go in there now.
Is it really that bright?
It's pretty bright. It lights up the room pretty good. I'm a little overboard, I think. I want to actually make it two more, put two more in there, because right now there's shadows. Like if I go to the CNC, I get a shadow. If I'm working at my little workstation, I get a shadow. So if I put two more, there won't be a piece of darkness left in that garage to hide. And that's kind of what I want, because the last garage, like there was places that were a little darker, and I want to be able to, see what I'm doing. So I need sunglasses when I go in, but I think it'll be worth it.
Well, two things. Ben Warren brings up a great point. You could just use a disco ball.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You'll get light all over
Party
the place.
Central.
Now, I don't know if you remember when you came to my shop, you might not have looked up at the ceiling, but your head almost hit the lights because it's so low. Just above, because my garage is split kind of two, because I have a steel beam in the middle. On the one end, I have four lights, and then on above the table saw on the workbench and all that, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have 6 or 7. So overboard, you're speaking to him right now.
Yeah, but you want to be able to see, and what we do, we want to see detail. And I'm just with that one light alone, I was able to see so much more detail. I think two more is going to really pull it together. So that was really not one circuit. That was just us able to be able to put more lights up there. Okay. The other circuit came from, there used to be a garage door opener in there, and for some reason they took it out and they plugged it. So we're able to put a plug in there, and that's my 120 amp. One of the 20 amp circuits. The second one is obviously the obvious one, that's the plug that's already in the garage, and I guess the front of the house if I really wanted to use that. So that's 2. 3, and there's a closet that in the garage. There's literally a closet, so I'm kind of using that for like my toolboxes, as far as like hand tools, like the router boxes and stuff like that, and some of the wood storage. In there's a light, and we did turn that into a socket too, so I could plug in the laser from that light, and I have it so that a string, so I just turn off and on the light that manually that way. And in these garages, they actually give you a hazmat container to house all your stuff. It must be an Illinois thing, I don't know, but we can't take it. We could take it and move it into the shed or wherever we want it, but in the end, when we move out, it has to be here. So all my Totalboat and my paints and all that stuff is actually in a safe, proper container, courtesy of housing. So we moved that into the closet to open up some space. And then the fourth circuit, actually, I think Nick, when he was on, he mentioned this. I drilled a hole through the wall and plugged it in on the other side. So I fixed it up. Like, it just needs a little bit more love. But there's a stretcher cord going through the wall and plugged in on the other side in our laundry room. It's extra plug, not really being utilized. So I took that too. So there's my 4 circuits. Laundry room, through the wall. I hope housing don't listen to this. I have one from the ceiling in the closet, one in the actual garage, and then one from the old garage door opener. And they're all 20 amp, so I should be good.
Oh, that's always good. At least you have the extra amperage if you need. Now, in housing, you couldn't modify the electrical box. Like you couldn't run new wires, right?
You could always do something. Okay, how can I put this? You could always do something once. You can't modify it.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you could run new circuits, like to hardwire it, if you did.
Oh, absolutely.
But you'd have to take
the
it
circuit
back
breaker
out.
panel is in the laundry room outside the garage. So it's a weird setup.
Yeah.
So if I pop it, I have to come in. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
Regardless, I have enough to run my CNC. I have enough to run the shop. That's the big thing. I'm going to have enough to get enough lighting in there and kind of have my old setup the way it is. So I'm going to basically set up the shop very similar to what I had with some minor changes, right? So having that closet allows me to put most of the stuff I had to store around the CNC or any cubby hole, really.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of left a lot on the floor. So if you're walking into the garage, right, and you're facing the back, we'll start off that way.
Okay.
The way I'm going to set this up is immediately to the right is going to be my dust collection.
Kind of like where you had it on the last one.
Yeah. But this time, my outfeed table and my table saw is going to be right there. Is the next thing on the right-hand side.
Okay.
So I'm going to be able to pipe it directly into the dust collection and not have to worry about that. So with that being said, you move past the outfeed table, which is that big, large toolbox, my table saw. Behind that, I forget the actual, how many feet, is going to be where I put the miter saw station. That way I can utilize the table saw and the outfeed table as a stabilizer if I have a long board. And I can use the miter saw station as well if I have a long piece. It's all going to be the same level.
Oh, okay.
So, and then basically on that wall, I'm going to have in the corner my my sander and my mortiser, almost like I had it. I'll have a toolbox underneath it and kind of have a little table area.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that's pretty much the right side. Now, if you go to the center, looking at the very back wall, that's where the CNC is going to live. Because that's where the hole in the wall with the extension cord is. So that's where that's going to live. I'm going to get a Craig table or a Rockler table, custom made essentially for it. And that's what's going to live on. I'm going to have a shelf underneath for all the electronics. And that's how that setup's going to be. I'm trying to keep it simple, and I don't want no big... I don't want to build anything. I want something simple that I can move if I want to. Because this last time, I laced a lot of wood building the last one, and it could have been a lot better, even though I had to build it overnight. And with this next setup, I'm kind of modeling after Onefinity and how they've done it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the theme we're there. So moving back on that wall, I'll have a toolbox to the left of the CNC, with my joiner kind of slide to the side of that CNC so I can pull it out, utilize it, and slide it back in to keep it out of the way. The big thing with the joiner is when the kids or I am in the shop, I don't want no one to hit their head or, it's a lot of cast iron to do a lot of damage. So we're moving again to the left side of the actual garage, coming back to the front. You run into that toolbox, and then it's going to be that little closet area, if you will. Okay. And again, I'm going to put a lot of wood in there, a lot of the cutoffs that I can't put on the wall. And then the random toolboxes and stuff like that. And then you come back and the wall kind of jets out because of the closet. Okay. And then you have this little section where it kind of goes in, and that's where the laser is going to live. It's a great area. It's kind of between the closet and the door. There's enough area for it to, sit in there nice and comfy. It's away from the front. Lasers are quiet. So I can put it against, because it kind of live over here. You can't see it, but over here. Okay. That jet out there. So that allows my laser to have its own place kind of away from most of the dust collection area. Because there will be a dedicated Festool vacuum dust extractor on the eventually on the CNC and on the miter saw.
Okay.
And then
You could send
the
mine.
hard pipe.
You could send one my way. My birthday's
this
coming
ain't
up.
happening overnight. This is planned stuff. So
Well,
hard
you
pipe.
could plan for it.
You know what? I will plan for it. I will
right.
definitely I'll send you one.
Nice. A CT36 E.
Whichever one you want.
I don't like the way that this sounds.
I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see.
Anyway, and then hard pipes for the table saw. There will be an expandable hose that I can use to, get random dust and stuff like that, and hook up to the bandsaw that's sitting kind of between the door and the garage door.
Okay.
Over here. It's just a great area for that to live. And then like my clamps and everything, I have a couple places for that. And then where I'm going to put my lumber, most of the long lumber is going to live on the wall with the miter saw and the table saw. I have enough where I'm just going to put them evenly spaced. And that way I can utilize, if I get a 20-foot board, I can throw it up there. I get a 10-foot, 4-foot, whatever. Anything 4 foot and under will go on a different wall where it's a smaller set.
Nice.
Be able to organize my lumber a lot better. Better. And that's kind of like the layout of what I'm going for. It's a lot more open. I have more space kind of like in the center where I could put up something and actually, work on something unlike what I've had in the past. There's a couple things I need to get and a couple things I need to build. But in the end, I think it's going to be worth it because of easy use.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Now, go ahead. Then I'll ask my question.
So when when my last shop was created, I never knew where I was going with the business. I didn't know it was going to be a business. I didn't know I was getting into woodworking at all. So because of that, a lot of the stuff kind of just had to migrate and, evolve with every tool and just had to adapt. Here, I like to believe I've learned something and able to, actually plan the shop in a way and utilize it in such a way which would better suit me in the stuff I do.
Oh, yeah.
So because of that, that's kind of where I'm going. I'm going to take it slow. I do have jobs and stuff that I have been asked about, and I will be completing here in September.
Nice.
And I mean, shadow boxes, you name it. I got actually quite a few things coming up. I have it cemented down. But I think once I'm up, I'll be fine. I already got a sign up front. It's actually the laser engraved sign.
Nice.
The inlay sign didn't quite make it down here. Had a couple things pop out and stuff. I just didn't feel like messing with it. I will be doing a nice acrylic outdoor sign here when I get time. And a couple other acrylic signs and wood signs and some mix and matching that I'll be doing up and coming. Okay. More for myself, but also to press my, what I know and how I do things so I can offer better things. So a lot going on, especially with the shop. I have a lot planned, a lot coming up. The house, it's, day 3 here. And like I said, and we got boxes and containers everywhere. I literally set up this whole setup before I came on about 10 minutes prior because we were scrambling. But I mean, we're doing it, and it takes the whole family, but we're definitely we're getting it done.
Okay, well, that's good. Now, compared to your old shop, how much bigger is it? Do you know, like measurement wise?
Yeah, I don't know how long or how deep it is. It's about 11.5 feet wide. And then I'm guessing about 14 feet, 15 feet, and where it jets out where the laser is. I don't think it's as deep as it is in Jersey. I would have to measure that to get around that far.
You're going to drive back up to Jersey?
Well, I know the measurements of Jersey. Jersey was like 11.5 by like 22, I think.
Okay, so you had a pretty deep one.
So, Yeah, it was more deep than it was wide.
Uh
Yeah.
huh.
Anyway,
Hey.
but this one is already turning out to be with having more space. I'm sure
Hmm.
I'll run into some issues here and have to move something or rearrange but I spent a lot of time just contemplating what I wanted to do because I don't want to move anything once it's there.
Oh yeah. Well, you want to set it up once and that's it.
Exactly. So I haven't tested any tools to see how loud it is in the house. Again, the kids' rooms are right above, of course.
Okay.
But they have sound machines, and my oldest is used to it. So I'm hoping that's not going to be an issue. And I've already talked to my neighbors, really great neighbors already, panning out to be amazing ones. I haven't stolen any of their electricity yet. That's still
Still in the works.
Yeah, maybe.
Day by day.
Probably not, though.
Just got to take one wire a day off until you switch it over to yours. Can't do it too quick, then they'll notice.
Exactly. Well, Christmas season's coming up, and we'll progress with that. But I don't know if I need to. I mean, would it be nice to have that fifth circuit? Absolutely. But I think we're going to be okay. I used 4, and it was mostly 15. Now we got all 20. I mean, we're going to make this happen, man. It's coming together. I haven't really touched it since we unloaded everything because I'm trying to get the house in order. Yeah. And my son goes to school here I think the 15th, 14th, something like that.
So time's ticking.
Yeah, we're trying to get everything normalized in the house for him. So he's not worrying about coming home and sleeping on an air mattress or what have you, but his own bed, and a normal schedule.
I hear you. Well, excuse me. I had something to ask you. You got anything else on your shop or the house move or any tool wise?
No, not really. Other than I can't find half the stuff I packed, but yeah.
Of course, you're not going to be able to. And you're probably not going to find it until you needed it. And then you don't need it anymore. Then you'll find it.
Well, most of the stuff, it's the ones and twosies. For the TV, I had a really good surge protector that protected the TV and everything plugged into it. Mm-hmm. I swear to God, I've checked every box. I cannot find the damn thing. I know it's packed.
You'll find it when you get a new one.
Oh, don't tell me that.
That's how it always happens.
Yeah, but moving is expensive as is. Right now, I'm eating ramen, so.
Nice.
Yeah, it's expensive, dude.
So, oh God, I just asked you about that stuff. One thing that I've been thinking about was what in your shop you have 1,000 tools. So do I. Out of all of those tools, doesn't matter how small, how big, how loud, how quiet. What is your most used tool out of everything?
Most used,
the most useful. How can I put this without kind of skewing you? You could use it. You can pick it up, use it, or pick it up. It could be a 1,000-pound machine for all.
Let's separate this into 2 different categories because let's go for prepping or finishing wood. Or the major machines as far as laser, CNC, stuff like that.
Prepping, finishing, you mean it could be from start to finish, not like sandpaper and sanding and then spraying.
Well, I mean, I would pick the laser and then I would pick probably for the rest. I like the bandsaw almost touches every project, but
I think you're thinking too deep. The laser, of course, I would pick the laser any day, but...
Well, yeah, you can do so much with it.
But I have a tool that I find more useful than I would have ever imagined. And...
A chisel.
No. Except I used a set of chisels the other day to get the rest of the aura mask off. Let me see... I can see what it is, but I cannot I can't tell you the name of it. Oh, I know what it is. The most useful tool in my shop right now, and has been for a while, is the Milwaukee installation driver. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That has the 4 interchangeable heads.
I don't have anything like that.
Best tool ever. I can.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that though. I've been thinking about getting one because, especially with all the stuff I'm installing and whatnot.
100 million% best tool I own right now. I have done everything from putting pocket hole screws in to drilling pocket holes to drilling a 6-inch cornhole board hole. Yes. Because I forgot my drill at my father's house and I wasn't driving 5 seconds away to go get it.
It was able to handle that bit?
It did it. Yeah, I did it. I think I have proof too. It is the best tool I have ever bought.
Okay. So primarily I have Dewalt. Dewalt was like the first driver and built. It's the first set of tools, really. I got power tools.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was given at Christmas and I just kind of continued with it because I couldn't have killed things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They lasted forever. It wasn't until maybe a year or two ago where I got a new set. And it was only because I wanted new batteries. Mm-hmm. I wanted more batteries and that was it. It wasn't because they were bad tools. It was just because I need. Well, okay. Anyway, but Milwaukee has piqued my interest between the people I've known that use it. And, you know, I see people using it out in the field and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's a whole new product line I have to dive into. I mean, if they want to sponsor this podcast and myself and Nap and everyone involved, that'd be cool. But, I don't know. There's so much stuff I need to get or want to get to make this shop ultimate. I'm trying to reduce the sawdust in here as much as possible. The goal here is to basically open that door for the exhaust for the laser, and that's about it. Maybe for the exhaust for the AC, and that's about it. I like to have it open naturally when I go in there, cold or not cold, but I want to be able to, you know, that's another thing I really didn't get to do this last shop. I really want to kind of hammer down here. That's why I have the table saw on the side I do. It's so close to the actual table saw, and it's going to be hard piped right in. So it'd be hard not to utilize it. So
I'm telling you, if you're gonna get anything from Milwaukee, and you know you could use it around your house, 100% that. And then you just go and throw the yellow stuff out, and then you go to the dark side, and they become one.
It's going to have to be like a gift or something, or before I mean, unless it's a tool I absolutely need and it's on sale. Because I tried. I really did.
I'm just busting your chops. I'm not saying that you have to come over to the dark side.
I know, but my point is like, I don't like, especially right now, I have most of the stuff I need.
Yeah.
The Festool vacuums and stuff, those are niceties. And honestly, if I find a brand that's similar and less, I'm going to get those. I love the Festool dust extractor, but the price that they have behind that is steep.
It's steep, but worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, if I can find a brand that pretty much is 1 for 1 and, you know, like $500 cheaper, I'm going to buy that.
They're the what's the brand? Fine. They have one, but I don't think it's a HEPA, and I don't believe that it's adjustable speed. I think it's just on, off, or remote.
Do you ever adjust your speed?
Yes. All the time.
Really? When?
For sanding, you're supposed to use it on the lowest setting. And
well, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what happens is if you have it on too high, it actually sucks the pad down to the wood, creating more pressure on the wood, creating more pigtails. I never
have pigtail problems.
My Mirka is pigtail century because I don't know.
Do you have it on the? You know, you can adjust the levels on there, right? Like speed wise.
Yeah.
I never get pigtails.
I use Orca abrasives. I use Mirka abrasives. I've used the 3M stuff, and I get pigtails no matter what. I was talking with Ed, and he was saying that the weight or something might be off. I gotta check the vibration.
You need to replace that bottom half, because I guarantee that's what's happening.
Yeah.
How long have you had it now? It has to be what, 2-3 years?
I want to say 3 years.
Yeah, it's about time, because you probably never replaced it.
I think I've had pigtails since day one, but I also might have been doing wrong things with it, because I didn't. Really
I don't know how you sand, but I do like a CPR. I just hold it down as much as I can till almost stops, and that's how I sand. It works really well.
I just throw mine at the wood over and over and over. Maybe that's why maybe they're not pigtails, they're dents.
Yeah. I remember I've dropped my Mirka a couple times, and every single time, even nowadays, I'm like,
I dropped my 3-inch one time, and it messed up. And then I've been so cautious with those, because those are my livelihood. Those 3-inch sanders are my workhorse. I now have 2, because I had to send the one out because I sent the one out for repair, and I needed it. I had flags up the wazoo, and I was like, I can't wait a couple weeks before I get this sander back. So I just ordered one and had it from I forget what company I got it from. And I had it within a couple of days, so I was able to keep rocking and rolling. But yeah, did
you get it from National Abrasives?
No, I got it from Two Sand, and the only reason I got it from them is because at the time I was working with them, so I was working with the lady that ran their social media, and then they gave me almost employee pricing, kind of a little above.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I need the sander. It happened at the right time, so I said, let me just buy it. I picked it up, and then they ghosted me. So I don't know what happened.
See, I really want to check out Surf Prep. After talking to them, using their sanders and stuff like that, there's definitely a sander that they produce I want. It's just, again, I need to get into that realm where the shop is running, everything's being paid, and I have a surplus, and then I can think about stuff like that. It's taken a lot to get here, and it's taken a lot to continue to set up. So once I get back there, maybe.
Why? I gotta ask, because if you look at Surf Prep, Mirka, there's another brand, and then also another brand that starts with an E. I don't remember. I'm trying to look for them now. Why Surf Prep? Because everybody is going surf. Everybody. It almost seems like a trend, because everybody went Mirka, myself including. Now everybody's on a Surf Prep trend. So it's like, they're the same sand.
I like Ed, and I like Mirka. I like my Mirka sander. Mm-hmm. I didn't know enough about Surf Prep to jump down that road. If I did, I probably would have, only because it's a family owned company. They go to every event. They're there. They talk to you. They'll tell you about their whole process. So right there, we always like to support stuff like that.
Okay.
It's comparable in price, but I think it's a 3x5 square sander they have. I don't know if they have a special name for it or what have you. And forgive me, because it's been a long day. But they have different pads, and you can get these for almost any sander, but they sell these different pads that can contour and sand different trims and stuff like that. And the 3x5 is really nice because, having a 6-inch round sander is great surface area. You can sand a lot, but when you get to a corner, that's kind of where not so great, right?
Oh yeah.
So having a square sander like that would be, or I guess it would be a rectangle. Excuse me for anyone out there. I know Ben, if he was here, to correct me, he'll get a kick out of that. But regardless, it has some features on it that I really enjoy. I've used it. I've got to actually use it. We used it on some artwork at Workbench Con to actually sand. And it felt great. Like, their product seems great. They stand by it. Something goes wrong, if it's reasonable, they'll help you out. I like products that I've used and can get behind. if I haven't used it, then I'm not sure about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I can't really speak to it. And that's kind of why I wanted to go down that road. It probably is a trend, like they're getting out there. More and more people are realizing, what kind of brand they are.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you're not wrong. There are definitely trends in the community. But I'm not going to drop everything and buy one either. So
Yeah. Well, the other brand that I was thinking of is called, they're under the Unita brand. And then there's the sander is an Eka sander. I don't know how to pronounce
I've never heard of that one. Yeah.
it looks identical to a surf prep. I mean, like spitting image. The only difference is there's no red. There's yellow instead of blue. I'm sorry. Instead of red, they have yellow, and looks identical. Dust port looks identical. Handle, everything, and it also looks like a Mirka. They kind of all have similarities.
They probably all come from a similar factory.
They're probably the same exact thing over and over, just different colored parts. But I was always looking at surf prep as well. But then this brand I came upon this brand by accident, and I'm looking for a 3x4. I don't need a 3x5 because I don't want that extra length on the foot. And I'm going to probably pick one up from this company and see, because I messaged them where I might be able to work with them just a little bit, get a small discount on the sander and try it out, and then, get some additional sandpaper and whatnot. But I've looked at surf prep multiple times. I just couldn't pull the trigger because it's almost the price of a Mirka. Actually, I think it's a little bit more than a Mirka 3x4.
Well, I think if you get the whole kit, it is more, but you get a whole bunch of sandpaper, you get the whole shebang. Versus with a Mirka, they may give you a couple pieces. Yeah. You get a whole sustainer full. They have it set up so you can do a kit, and I believe that's where that price comes in. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think you get more for your money there.
You do.
It might not seem it because of the fact of but. I don't know, man. Honestly, again, it's like the 3D printer thing.
Yeah,
it's whatever.
It's like anything.
It's whatever works for you. You can make a Dewalt ROS work. Just I couldn't do that no more. My hands were going numb, so I needed something different.
The one other thing that the Dewalt sander doesn't have is great at all dust extraction. Not even to go into the bag, because literally I sanded something real quick with that. And I turned it on and just hit the wood, and just dust went poof, all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about dust collection. You're going to need a higher quality. I've heard good things about the Bosch. Festool obviously has good dust collection. Again, there's tons of brands out there. There's 3M. 3M has their own sanders. I don't know if you check those out. They're pricey. But I mean, it's whatever. Mirka came up, introduced to that. It seemed to be a good sander, is a good sander. I've had no regrets having that thing. The time I sand has been reduced so much. And then I still don't care for sanding like some people I know, but,
I don't like it anymore, by the way.
Oh, really? Tides have turned.
I gave up on that because sanding those waves feel like it takes me for days and days. Meanwhile, it's only like an hour and a half, but I'm like, after I do, dude, I only do 2 grits. I do 80 grit and 180, and that's it. I don't go any higher. And it feels like it takes me millennials to try and get that far. I'm like, after 80 grit, I'm like, why am I still doing this? Why do I enjoy this?
Well, sometimes you do something enough, it does feel like work, but I think you still enjoy it deep down. You want to talk about sanding? I moved the bookcases that started this whole thing, right? And I'm touching it. I'm like, I don't think I sanded. Like, I honestly don't think I sanded that whole thing. Like, it's not smooth at all.
Well,
I didn't know.
Oh yeah, well, of course, because when you're starting out, you don't know. Or was this the bookcases you made right before you left?
No, these are the bookcases I made that started me on the woodworking journey.
I know.
But
I go back to the little farmhouse shelves that I made, and I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
yeah, and I was actually talking to my father, and we're sitting on the couch because we're exhausted, and the couches are finally inside. It was the last thing on the truck is the damn couches, and they're the heavy like recliner ones that. Anyway, so we're sitting down, and I'm staring at these bookcases. And I'm like, those things are made exactly of the two types of wood I don't like anymore: pine and oak. Like, what was I thinking? And he's like, what don't you like about oak? And I'm like, I don't like the, grain structure. I don't know. I have a thing of oak. It's everywhere. It's literally everywhere.
Well, because that's what, I mean, I don't know how I'm looking at the YouTube thing and it looks like maybe the door, is that a metal door?
So no, it's completely painted. Like, I don't know what kind of, it's probably wood, but the door right there, the trim.
Does it have an oak trim?
It has, everything's oak trimmed. The doors are like oak patterned. The cabinets are oak, not real oak, but like oak, whatever.
Is this like older housing? They're not like.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, well that's why
we have a dishwasher. I'm pretty sure dinosaurs in there washing our dishes. But I mean,
have fun with those old dishwashers. I had one and it clunked so bad it would wake you up.
So yes, this housing is definitely much older than our last one. I was talking to a retiree, and he's like, "Yeah, I lived in that street." And he goes, "Those houses haven't changed since I was in there."
Oh, geez.
So I mean, they're older houses, but honestly, our backyard, we have a pretty good sized shed. We're putting a little bit more in there because we lost a little bit of room here. But we have a patio. It has an overhang on there, a cement base. And you know what? I sat out there this morning and it's shaded in the morning. The weather here has been really nice. Between me being in Texas and then in Jersey during the hottest month, like this all feels great. The weather here seems to be awesome. A little humid, but it's not as humid as Jersey and not as humid as Texas was. The base seems small. I got around pretty good. Job seems pretty cool. I took leave. I actually don't have to report back to work until the 21st. Wow. So I can get the house in order, the shop in order. But yeah, things are coming together. A lot of hard work and sweat, but it's definitely been worth it. So
okay. Well, that's good, man. It's good that you're getting settled in and hopefully everything goes, according to plan, and hopefully you don't lose anything else that you have to, that you need, like your surge protector.
Yeah, I'm probably going to find, like you said, once I unpack everything, it'll be the last thing I unpack, or I'll buy a new one and they'll just be like right next to the TV.
What you have to do is you have to leave. Now, hopefully the boxes and stuff can't hear me, but what you have to do is you have to pretend to leave. So leave, close the door, lock it, start your truck, then turn it off. Then walk back in and be like, I'm so happy I went to the store. And then you're going to look down and it's going to be right there. Then you're
trip over as I come in.
You have to fake it out so it thinks that you actually bought a new one.
Well, we'll see. I think I went through most of the boxes, but it's going to be at the bottom of something random. I have all the cords and stuff, I believe, for the TV. I might just have to suck it up and find a new one, but we'll see.
Yep. We shall see, man. Well, I'm glad that everything's going well.
But let's go ahead and wrap it up with your final words, and then I'll say some, and we'll both have a good night.
Final words? I'm not really sure. Glad to be on, and you're a cool cat. I don't know. I got nothing else.
We need to work on that. Anyway, thank you again for popping on.
No problem.
Again, if you guys didn't hear it, Nap's at a conference and could not be on tonight, so AJ was able to come on. We're going to have him on anyway. But it was nice that he was able to get here. And then for my final words, well, hopefully everyone out there is getting some sleep and some rest, enjoying their time, getting in the shop, making some sawdust. Change is good. Makes you better in the long run. So meet it head on and make it work for you. And with that, Sawdust Nation podcast out.